volume. If I'm hearing a weird feedback, but we'll figure that out in a second. Pull up that main camera. Hey, everyone. Jeremy's not on the ball. Camera.
Oh, here we go. Main camera and 3, 2, 1, done.
Hey, everybody. That was a little mess up, but it's okay. It's okay. He's a Marine. We're working on him. Which one are we on? Are we on that one? Are we on this one?
Man, we're hearing the audio from.
Oh, whatever. I'm not going to worry about that right now. You are live. If you're watching this, we are live. Irreverent Warriors 21 Gun Podcast. And you know what? Every single time I forget to go on Instagram and tell all those people. So you know what? Screw you, Instagram. You don't get a little free sample and to come over right now.
Damn.
Figured out where that sound was. It was my laptop there.
Yep.
I'm your host, Kevin Sullivan. With me, as always, is my Irreverent Warriors Sherpa, Jeremy Walton. He is a co-coordinator of the Raleigh hike. You know what I was thinking just the other day? If something, God forbid, were to happen to you, could I just get your twin brother to come on to take your place?
I mean, you might get a darker tone. You might get a bigger beard.
Oh, he's got a beard.
A little more beard.
He's a man, is what you're saying.
No, he has not deployed.
Mm.
So he has no facial damage.
I thought if you wore a beard, it meant you operate.
I
thought that was the going rate.
I'm just not a beard guy, so I guess I don't operate.
Technically, I was in operations. So does that make me an operator? I operated the aircraft. Okay, that's it.
But if you're
I'm a bro vet. I'm going around telling everyone I'm an operator from now on. What's up? My name's Kevin Sullivan, like my operator beard. Okay, if you guys are watching, obviously on Facebook over at Irreverent Warriors Facebook page, what I want you to guys do is share it, because the whole idea of this is to get people out of isolation. So the whole idea of all this Irreverent Warrior stuff. So what we want to do is share our thoughts, share our experiences, share our stories. And the only way to do that is to actually share it with people. So go ahead and share that right now. That would be a big help. We have a packed show tonight. I guarantee you I'm not going to get to like 1/10 of it. Although one of our call-in people can't make it. So if you want to call in the show and you're watching right now, go ahead and send a DM to Jeremy, or just maybe put a comment down there and be like, hey, I have a big announcement. It's the Marine Corps birthday. I don't know, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to do, just shoot him. Keep it non-political.
Please.
And that's really the only rule. I guess no nudity, so you don't get kicked off.
For the love of the Lord. No
but yeah, so yeah, let him know, and then we'll pop you on, because we have an opening now for that. Maybe if you know, comment down there and be like, hey, I have a big
man. Don't worry.
Okay. If you notice that first video that we put on there, was that not the perfect representation of 2020 thus far? Can you pull that up again real quick?
I sure can. Oh man, and I even killed it too. Right?
Oh, you did? All right, never mind. It's some guy that's in Barcelona, and it's some guy in Barcelona sitting in a street corner or whatever, playing Eternal Flame by, I don't know the name of the band. I assume it's like, here.
He's just playing the piano right there in the beginning.
And the explosions in the background. He doesn't care. He's just sitting there playing it.
Is that like when the Titanic went down?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't know the whole story of that, but yeah. If that's not a direct representation of 2020 thus far, I don't know what is.
I mean, we're all going down. I mean, at this point in time, we're going down in an earlier round. And that is a music song, for those of you who don't know.
Yes, so I started drinking a little bit earlier for this show, by which I mean Tuesday night. And it's going to be very hard. Well, here's the thing, all right? Without getting political, we don't have to get political. We don't do that.
Nope.
But we can say, wait a minute, this is the democracy we fought for. And we're like, what, 3 weeks into it now? It's like now a week-long thing. Didn't they figure out the president in like 15 hours back in 1778?
Pretty
1780.
quickly, yeah.
I don't know when the first election was. I assume it would be, no. 1786. I'm going to go with that. But yeah, they can figure it out. And we have all this technology. I'm doing a freaking TV show off a piece of 2 pounds of equipment to the world. We have all this technology, and they can't fucking count the votes, and it's driving me crazy. Again, we're not going to get into anything beyond that. It's just, I think it's a little bullshit because we should know by now. Tonight's guest, we have Quentin Wilkinson coming on. He goes by Q. He's coming on to discuss milspouse mental health. He unfortunately lost his wife to suicide earlier this year, and I think it's an important topic. The ladies over at Beyond the Service podcast.
There you go.
Got it right the first time. They talk a lot about milspouse issues. So if you're a milspouse and you want to learn more about being a milspouse or whatever, check out their podcast. But they get into it. And I was on a hike, the Raleigh Silkies hike, and I met Q, and he told me a story, and I was like, you gotta share that. And he's very, very open to sharing this story to as many people as he can, because milspouses, I know this is a controversial thing to say, but they're part of the military too. They really are. Who do you think's taking care of the house when you're gone? Who do you think's watching the kids when you're gone for 15 months? Who's making sure the shit's together? It's them. They have a very, or Jody. Jody is taking care of her while she's doing that for you. But yeah, they're very important, and we can't really look past that. I think we should do something for the Marine Corps birthday. Now, I know that's on the 10th. We typically go on a Thursday, which is the 12th, and the next day is Veterans Day. We can't do like 3 shows in a row. But what I was thinking is like a classic, get everyone, all the Marines out there, which is like 90% of Irreverent Warriors. If you want to come on the show, it'll be fun. We'll bring on like 10 guests at a time. Yeah, that won't be a clusterfuck, but we'll bring on a bunch of people and we'll just hang out. We'll say 9 o'clock, maybe on Tuesday. We'll start the show, and I don't know, I'll come up with a format, something like, what's your best boot camp story? What's your best being a boot story? What's your best deployment story? What's your best time in the Philippine Islands? Whatever you want to share, we'll talk about it. I think that'll be a good time. What do you think? I think it'd be a great time. I mean, what better stories to get from Marines? And you'll have a little air support from Air Force over here. Hey man, I gotta have someone up high. You know what? Back in 04, I think it was 04, might have been 05, might have been 06. One of my deployments, we were attached to the MEF, right? The Marine Expeditionary. So basically they were doing a huge swap out. And for like a month, we flew 62 Marines and their equipment into country, picked up the ones that were swapping out, flew them back day in, day in and day out, all day. I feel like I got to know the Marines pretty well during that time. I would say that amount of time, if you don't get to know them, what did you do? Because when you spend that amount of time in Marines, I know Marines like to talk. So we used to do this thing, right? We would take off and we would pretend like the loadmaster, there's a pump on the back. And if you've ever been on a C-130, the C-130 tail goes down. If the motor breaks to lower the ramp, there's a pump and you can just do it manually. But if you're flying, it does nothing. So what the pilot would do is he would nose over, and everyone would get a little bit, airborne. And no one's ever comfortable flying on a C-130 because you can't see, and it's just, so the pilot would nose it over, and the loadmaster would run over and start pumping the thing. And then the plane would come back up again and it would stay stable. And then he'd do it again. He'd run over and start pumping it. And then what he would do, if whoever was sitting closest to it, he'd say, "Hey, I need you to do something. I got to go up and fix something. If this plane starts going over, I need you to pump this as hard and fast as you can." You were messing with him, weren't you? Yep. So we would nose over, and that poor guy would be up there. And then we would, like, of course he wouldn't level out as soon. Oh, so he's still going. Yeah. And like, then he would go too high, and the loadmaster would be like, too much. So yeah, that's what we did with Marines. I have another funny story. This isn't story hour, but I like this one. So when we pick on our airmen as well. When we were in Iraq, we had a loadmaster. If you were a new loadmaster, you got this job, and it was that the intel guy would come in and he would give him about 24 black trash bags and a piece of tape and a marker. And he said, "Well, we think that there's chemical weapons in the atmosphere, and we want to make sure that the levels aren't too high for aviators because you guys are up there, right, not on oxygen, blah, 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 blah." And so he's like, "What I need you to do is when you get over in Iraq, for every 1,000 feet of altitude you change, I want you to collect an air sample in the trash bag." Oh my Lord. So we'd be like, "Yeah, great job. That's an awesome job for you, kid." And he would run around with the trash bag, tie the thing up, put a piece of tape on, mark the time. And then the pilot would be like, "That was wrong. We're actually at 1,500 feet. I need you to empty that out. We want to make sure." At the end of the flight, he had 12 trash bags in the back.
You know what? I think there's an army video of that, of a young private trying to get exhaust samples.
They're all the same. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to find that for the next show.
Send them off to look for a smoke shifter and all that bullshit. So, yeah, that was my little story night. November 12th, which will be, so this is going to be a little backwards, but it won't, but it will. So let me explain.
It all works.
November 12th, we are doing just a regular old show here. It's going to be Entrepreneur Night. So if you're an entrepreneur and you utilized one of the many benefits that are out there, maybe you didn't. Maybe you didn't like the benefits and you did it all on your own. Shoot me a DM, shoot me an email, Kevin@21guns, spell it out, 21gun.net, and we'll have you on. We have two pretty successful entrepreneurs coming on that night as our guests, but I'd love to have Irreverent Warriors on there too. So if you want to do that, get in touch with me and we'll have you on. Now is Veterans Day, which is the day before that. But what we're going to do is on 11/15 on Sunday. Are you following any of this? Am I just talking out my ass?
For most jarheads, probably.
Have I been drinking too much and now I'm not getting my message out there? Okay. Sunday, November 15th. It's going to be our Veterans Day celebration. If you are in the area, and I don't have the thing up, but if you're in the area over in Garner at Good Times, I guess it's like a
mini arcade with
like
a bar
arcade
and stuff like that. It's right by the house.
What's that thing? They're always at malls. There's like a whatever. It's
strip mall?
Yeah, but it's going to be outside. And it's going to be a Veterans Day event. So we're going to be there. We're going to set up with the table. I'll probably be there from 1 to 3, and we're just going to go live. And if you want to hop on, say hi, give a shout out to your Irreverent Warrior friends from across the country live on air, then you can do that. Just look for us. I'm going to be wearing my silkies. We're going to have the big Irreverent Warriors flag and all that good stuff.
Even if it's cold, we got this.
I had a skit that I was going to do to open this up. Well, we're going to save it till next week because I'm not in a good mood. And again, we won't say why.
We couldn't tell from the beginning.
All right, let's talk about the Warrior of the Week. Can you bring him up? So I think I mentioned last week, I don't care. I mean, I do care, but the story isn't what's entirely important, right? It doesn't have to be a Medal of Honor or Silver Star winner. It could just be a guy that you served with. So I was on Reddit. I always go to the Reddit military site to look for stuff for the show. And this guy put up a picture of his grandfather. And I was like, hey, want to give me some info on him? We'll make him the Warrior of the Week. And he's like, yes, I will. So you have him up? Oh, cool. Okay. So this guy is, I wanted to use him particularly because he is the quintessential everyday warrior, right? Those are the old men at the grocery store. They're the 80-year-old guy driving slow in traffic. You might get mad at him. You got to think, hey, that guy might have been throwing hate in North Korea at one point. You know what I mean? Or in the jungles of Vietnam. So when you see these guys, they also could be anyone's aunts or sisters or whatever. Know their stories. Ask them about it. If you see a guy I do it all the time. You know, sometimes they'll tell you everything, but you see a guy wearing a Vietnam hat, you see a guy wearing a Korea hat, talk to him, find out what his story is, because they have a lot of stories of self-sacrifice. So tonight's Warrior of the Week is Bob Van Meter Sr. And this is out of his great-grandson's words. He said, my great-grandpa joined up in the military at age 16 and was in Italy with the 82nd Airborne. Nice. That's awesome. I worked extensively with the 82nd Airborne out of Fort Bragg. At 16, this guy is throwing hate at Nazis, which is pretty awesome. Well, maybe 17, right? Because he had to go through
some training, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe he was 17 years old, but still. You think you're like, oh, when I was 17, I was car surfing, right?
Yeah.
When I was 17, I was being an idiot. We were sneaking beers. This guy was literally saving the world from Nazis. So that's just pretty awesome. He was born in Albion, Michigan. And if I can do the math, let's see, we were in Italy in 1943. So I'm guessing he was born in the mid-1920s. He joined because his older brother had joined the military. He came home. And instead of bitching and complaining about all the shit that went on in his life and what people owed him, I'm not pointing fingers, but we all know those people. He went to work at Union Steel. He built his own home. He had kids. He had a special needs child that he raised that passed away back in 1986. He loved hunting, fishing, all the way up to the age of 80. And he liked camping. So apparently he's a really great guy. And unfortunately, God, I hate COVID. He died just a couple weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago, on October 26th from fucking COVID. Bring that down. whatever. This guy does all this shit, and this stupid ass virus takes him out. But yeah. Okay. Godspeed, Warrior. And here's to the Warrior of the Week. In true Air Force fashion, I am drinking a seltzer with hard seltzer.
True Marine Corps fashion, I'm drinking whiskey.
Hard seltzer.
Hard whiskey.
All right. I procrastinate a lot this week. That's what I do. I don't know if you guys do this, but I knew I had a lot of work to do to get ready for this show. And I did it all about 20 minutes ago. And with that said, I found a genius who knows about procrastination. We're going to bring up his video right here.
I have so much work I got to do tonight.
Oh, wait. We might have to
Am I
rewind.
start right now? No.
What happened to
I'm
it?
not going to start anytime soon.
I don't know what happened.
And that's
There we
because
go.
I leave the big jobs.
Okay, rewind it a little bit.
Yep, we got to rewind.
Okay.
Future me is the same.
Okay, check this out. Oh,
Right here.
Jeremy. Oh, my God. Hey, if you guys are watching this, go ahead and send your hate mail to Jeremy Walton.
InsaneMarine69@gmail.com.
Mhm. All right, here we
I
go.
have so much work I got to do tonight. But am I going to start right now? No. I'm not going to start anytime soon. And that's because I leave the big jobs up to future me. Now, future me is the same person as present me. But a few hours have gone by, some time has passed, and I already know what you're thinking. But Griffin, you're still the same person. Isn't future you going to want to procrastinate too? Absolutely.
Yes.
All
That is,
right, you can take that down.
totally me. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about procrastinating. Even when I was in school, it was like you only get shit done at the last minute before mission planning. So in before you fly an airplane, it's like I shit you not, everything to the last second is planned. Like writing out your notes. So, and what you're supposed to do as the navigator, you're like in a lot of situations, you're the mission commander, and you have to announce. You have to be like,
right.
Okay, we are going to start the mission brief in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hack. And then the next thing would be like, okay, we're going to step out to the aircraft and you have to do that. And I don't know if maybe it's just my brain firing back from having to be so anal about time. But yeah, I find that if I procrastinate, I get the shit done. Like if you get it done early.
Weird though. That's like it's like an oxymoron.
Exactly, but
Marines using big words.
Yeah, that is. Well, you had the word moron in there, so
that's why it's a Marine word.
Mm-hmm. Both our call-in people aren't here. If you guys want to call in, just shoot us a message and we'll bring you up. Both our call-in people didn't show, so you guys are going to get schwacked.
And I know he's going to be watching this right now. Michael Sheldon, who I went to high school with. Yeah, I'm calling you out, buddy.
Oh, son of
he had to work.
Bitch.
He's a trade job guy, so he gets pretty busy. But yeah, I'm calling you out, brother.
We did a lot of shout outs to the Navy last week, and the Navy was going to get another shout out this week, but they didn't because I was pissed and I didn't do the skit. Don't worry, you'll get it next week. This is a very good skit. You'll enjoy it. But the Royal Navy, we're going to give them a little shout out because veterans are veterans, right? We had, I think, as a guest, we had Hamidi Jazim. He's a veteran of Iraq. An Iraqi veteran. Either way I say that, it sounds like I'm saying he's an Iraq veteran. No, he's a veteran from Iraq who served in Iraq. And if you guys haven't heard his story, go back a few episodes and you'll see Hamidi Jazim's. It's a 4-part series. Amazing story. But are you sharing?
I sure am.
All right, can you bring up the video that's just a little bit down from there?
I sure can.
There it is. Okay, watch this shit.
Going to launch. Over. Roger. Over.
I want it. I need that. And he's gone. Just bye.
It looks fake.
So, I'll tell you in a second.
Oh, he's going to dunk. Oh, I thought he was going to hit the water.
Yo, that was
Ready to start. Over.
So I was a part of a disabled sports program through the VA a couple years back, and we were in Coronado Beach, and there was a guy using one of those that was attached to a jet ski.
Oh, the ones that go in the water.
Yeah, really
those
cool.
are pretty cool. The jet ski sucks the water up,
Yep.
and it shoots it out jets by your hands. Those are
And the
that.
boots too.
I don't know what the shit that thing was, but it looked like there was no water.
It's
It was
jet power.
It was a jetpack.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'm gonna hand it to you. That's an awesome. That's an
I think
awesome
those
thing.
things have like 30 minutes of flight, I think
Right.
max, something like that. But could you imagine? That's a blast.
Can you imagine being like a Somali pirate and you have a ship, right? You took over a ship and you're like,
Iron Man's coming.
yeah, and then all of a sudden you hear, and these freaking dudes come flying in. I just put my guns down and be like, yep, nope,
I'm done.
I'm good.
I quit.
I don't
I'm
know
out.
what the hell's going on, but you've got me. Or if you're the U.S. Navy SEALs, all they know is they're chatting, and then suddenly everybody's dead.
Done.
Did you see?
Is
Did we
it-
talk about that last week? The
You're asking
rescue?
a jarhead with a TBI if he remembers what he did last week.
I'm an airman with the TBI. And I don't remember what I did last week.
You're smarter than I am.
That is true, technically. But yeah, last week we had those Navy SEALs that rescued, and the quote from the spokesman was, "Everyone was dead before they knew what happened." Which
Oh
means,
yeah, we did talk about that.
and that's just like what they did for. I'm picturing the actor.
Yes.
You know the guy. The guy had COVID like at the very beginning. Tom Hanks. He was in that
Yes,
movie.
Okay. Okay,
And
I know what
they
you're
had him
talking
as a hostage in that life raft. And
Came
then,
up and-
then here's the amazing thing about that. This always I shoot. I like to shoot. I've been shooting since I was a kid. I know the difficulties of shooting long distances. And these guys were on the back of an assault ship. I don't know what type. I think it's one of those. It looks like an aircraft carrier, but it's like a helicopter thing.
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah.
the
with
Marines
helipad in the back. Yeah.
fly around in. I mean, float around in them. And
Uber
it was like 4 Navy SEALs, right? And they were just lined up, and the ship is doing this, and they're the terrorists, or I mean the pirates, are on this little boat like 500 yards out with a spotlight, and they just tap them all.
Gone.
They all drop. And then what was the name of that guy? The Captain Phillips. Captain Phillips is sitting there like, what the hell just happened? Everyone's dead.
Gone.
Pretty awesome story. I love the Navy SEALs. We had a Navy SEAL on last week. What has 2 thumbs and operates? Navy SEAls.
Oh, sorry. I was going with the.
What time is it? 8:22. We got time for another topic before we bring on our guest.
Man, if only we had somebody call in.
Yeah, we'll do a serious topic. We're going to go do a serious topic. I do have video footage of the Egyptian police force celebrating their graduation ceremony, and it is. We'll do it. We'll do that. We'll do that at the end.
At the end, okay.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that at the end. It is phenomenal.
Because now I'm intrigued.
Oh, you haven't watched it yet.
I have not.
Oh,
I
it's-
always save these videos for today because I want to be surprised.
Think about, like, you've seen third world countries, right? When they show off their military and they're doing stuff like breaking pots over their heads and doing
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
shit like that. It's like that. It's pretty awesome. News story that came out: post 9/11 veterans are the most vulnerable to unemployment. I don't know what this election cycle is going to do to that whole thing, but it was weird because we had COVID and everyone lost their job, at least the non-essential workers. And over September, a lot of those jobs came back, but unfortunately, with the post 9/11 veterans, the numbers are continuing to drop. And I don't quite know why that is. If you're struggling with unemployment right now, you shouldn't be, because, and I say this pretty much in every show, if you say there's not a VSO to meet your needs, you're not looking hard enough. I
Agreed.
mean, everybody and his brother has a VSO. A lot of these VSOs are getting funded, and they're every single one that I've ever brought on has been just a wonderful organization that's there to help you. So I figured I would bring up some things to help out our fellow veterans if you're hurting for jobs right now. So the first place you should go is to va.gov, which Jeremy brought up right now. Now, if you look here, I can't remember because it's been years since I used mine, but if you didn't pay into the GI Bill, I don't quite know all the ins and outs, but you got to remember that the GI Bill can be for on-the-job training, apprenticeships, plumbing, hotel. I mean, look at the examples they're using right there. Who's covered? Veterans. This is, I mean, yeah, your spouses and kids can use it, but this is all about veterans. You get money. So when I went to PA school, it was great because all my classmates were. You can switch back to the camera. All my classmates were freaking out every time tuition was due, right? Because it was a state school. It was like $5,000, $8,000, something like that a semester. And I went to the military VA guy, whatever, the liaison who was at the university, and that was it. and then they give you a stipend. They paid for my books. They paid for everything. It was a hell of a lot of work, but you got to remember that, right? So what you have to do is you have to make yourself that plan. Now I'll put my dad hat on. You got to look and say, okay, life. So I was 30 something. I think I was 32, 33. I had been an officer in the Air Force. I had a bachelor's degree, and I knew, or someone had said, hey, why don't you go into medicine? So I'm like, all right, I'll give that a go. And I planned it out. I had to go entry level. Like when I say entry level, we're talking changing bedpans. We're talking wiping asses for a good 2 years before I even started the school process. And that took another 2.5 years. So yeah, you have to know that you might eat shit or literally wipe it off of someone's ass. But as long as you make that plan and you say, okay, I can go a few years making minimum wage and doing this. Now, if you have kids, I get it. That's a different story. But there's also, you don't have to go to school for the GI Bill. You can learn a trade. You can be an apprentice. So check out the GI Bill. That's definitely one. And then there's organizations. I heard this one from Paul Cardenas, who was here just
last week. He showed up
last week. Yep. Is that our live shot right there?
That sure is.
Why is it so shitty?
Probably connection.
Huh.
Yeah, let's switch this up.
That is a shitty shot.
So that was what I was saying last week. I think it's because it's plugged into this old laptop.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to get a new laptop. And in order to get new laptops, what I need you guys to do.
That's a good placement.
Is head over. Let's switch to the main camera.
Gotcha.
And get yourself a 21 gun t-shirt and get a 21 gun t-shirt. Here's another one. And these aren't the only ones. I have newer ones that if you look on the top left-hand or right-hand corner, it's going to be that symbol right there, which I think is a lot cooler. But there's this one.
Epic segue, dude. That was just perfect.
If you buy yourself a t-shirt, that money goes directly to this podcast and we get better equipment because we're already slowly getting better equipment. You're going to notice that as time goes by that the broadcasts hopefully get better. So we're working on it. Okay, I didn't get sidetracked there at all. So Cisco, bring up Cisco's. And
bring up. Well, maybe I should probably bring up the screen and then do it. That would be great, Jeremy.
That is the shittiest
job, Jamie.
Shot we've ever had. I'm going to switch over to. Okay, yeah, bring up screen. Okay, so Paul Cardenas told me about this No, I don't know. It was a few months ago. And what Cisco will do is it's called a talent bridge for veterans. It's a free job matching platform connecting veterans with Cisco's channel partners. So basically you come in, they train you up. I think they pay you while they're training you.
They do.
Yeah. It's called the Veteran Talent Incubation Program. Oh, I mean, there's all different ones. There's Talent Bridge for Veterans, Cisco Networking Academy, Cyber Vets USA. I mean, all these things are there for you guys to, and you know what? Is it a shitty job? I don't know. I don't know if working on a computer all day is a shitty job, but I'll tell you what, wiping asses is kind of a shitty job.
Literally.
But not everything has to be a magic rainbow, right? We got to get ourselves out of the idea that life is an Instagram feed for 5 seconds. Life can be sucky at sometimes. And if you're unemployed, sometimes you just have to eat that shit and do things you don't like, or it could be a really cool job. I don't know. I'm assuming it pays well because all my friends who are in IT, they're all freaking ballers.
So it pays quite well. I actually have a couple of friends who are no longer friends, and I won't go into why.
Jeremy tried to make out with them.
No, she's married.
And I was just assuming it was a guy.
Long-time friend. It ended for other reasons, but they work at Cisco. Prior Marine has been in Cisco for I'd say 4 or 5 years now, and pay the advancement, the care they take for females and males. I'm talking, you guys have like a full gym in there. They cater food.
Yeah, that's awesome, right? That's a fantastic job.
Guys, and they pay you well. So it's not a bad thing if you're into computers programming. They also have a security program there. So if you work like private security type stuff, they do offer that there as well. And that's cool. It's for the site as well. So that's pretty cool.
So check them out. There's also, these ones are more, I like this. Operation Warfighter puts out a job. Veterans or out of work veterans at the jobs at the Homeland Security, the Department of Homeland Security. So those, we got a lot of door kickers out there. And if that's really what you want to do, then, you can head over there. There's also, I love this one. It is, where is it? Office of Wounded Warrior Transition. Oh, there's an email there. If you guys are interested in any of these programs, especially Operation Warfare or Warfighter, well, do you know what? I'll just put links up at the end of the show. You'll see that. There's also Hero Child Rescue Corps program. This one takes, I believe, disabled veterans and trains you up on how to hunt down child predators, right?
As vets, we talk a lot about protecting our children. I think that would be perfect.
I know. I think it's an awesome. I part of me is like, I want to do that job. I think it was also started by a special ops guy. But if you want to check that out, just head over to ice.gov. ICE, what's in something customs enforcement, something, just ice.gov/hero. And that program's awesome. You talk about coming home at the end of the day and feeling like you did something and you took down a freaking child predator porn ring or something like that. I mean, that's just freaking awesome.
Yeah,
Hats
man,
off to
save
those
our
guys.
kids, man.
That's the whole reason why I wanted to be a cop. My whole life I want to be a cop. Thank God I'm not one now, but I always wanted to be one. And it dawned on me in my old age that I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't go into a house and see children that are being abused. I couldn't do it because I would fucking just cap
Lose
the
your
dude
mind?
right
Yeah.
there. Yeah. And I don't know how cops do that.
Hats off to them.
Yeah, we won't go into the, all the stuff that's going on with police, but man, you got to think, right? When shit's going down and there's a shootout, what did this cop see last week? What did the cops see over the last 20 years? And yeah,
The mental fortitude of them who can still continue to do it. That's incredibly commendable because, to be honest, even through deployments, I don't think I could have came back and been a cop. I would have not been able to control myself, to be honest.
no way. And now that I'm a dad, that's and not that I wouldn't be more, but now that I relate to it, man, I am all over the
personal,
place
yeah, man.
tonight. I am all over the place. Anyone got do you have ADD? No. What's that stuff called? Ritalin?
Yeah, I mean,
Take a bumper Ritalin, try to get on track here.
we can go back 18 years and I can find something.
All right. We have Quentin Wilkinson that we're going to bring on. Quentin Q. Wilkinson. Hopefully his mic is working. We'll find out. Here we go. Add him to the stream. Look at all these angles we have. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's like, which one do I even talk to?
It's all
talk
over
to
the
the
place.
good-looking guy. Yeah. Here, let me just pull you up here.
Oh man, you got that mic working too. Hell
Yeah,
man.
nice.
Oh yeah, I was working
so,
on it while you guys were talking.
Sweet. I met you over at the Fayetteville hike, Silky Hike. Was that your first hike?
Nah, I think that was like my third or fourth hike.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, so you're a veteran of the Irreverent Warriors.
Oh yeah,
Now, what service were you in?
I'm in the Army. I'm currently in the Army.
You're still in? You got a shaving
Yeah.
waiver, or are you an operator?
Man, like I haven't really been at work ever since everything happened. I just got back to Fort Bragg because I was recruiting in Greensboro, so I still have this
Okay.
lovely beard going on right now.
Nice. Well, we were just, I don't know if you heard, we were talking at the very beginning. We are like the operator beard.
Oh yeah, without doubt.
Or someone would call it the brovet beard. I just call it, I just don't like to shave. That's what, and I don't have a chin.
Shaving sucks, man.
So yeah, it really does. And if I shave, then suddenly I have this weak chin. This is an artificial chin to make me look stronger and more handsome.
I mean, it works for you, man. I'm not gonna lie. So.
Look at that. It says it works for me. And some people who don't know me, if I shave, they're like, what the fuck happened to you?
Who the
I'm
hell
like,
are you? Yeah.
like, what do you mean? I did that. My kids wouldn't talk to me for about, I kid you not, for 2 weeks. So watch out, Quentin. I know you have 2 kids. You have a young kid. And if they see you without your beard, it might be a little traumatic for them.
Yeah,
So
it might be.
what was your job, or what is your job besides
I'm a
recruiting?
74
What was
Delta
your,
Seaburn guy, the guy that everybody hates. Makes us wear masks and stuff. That was me.
Oh, okay. That's like, what did you call it? Seaborn?
Seaburn, Kim Bio, Nuke, Red.
Okay. I forget what we called them it was the same thing you guys called them. What did you call them?
Well, it was emergency management because I did 3 years in reserves in the Air Force prior, and back then it was emergency management.
Okay. I think it's called chemical bio
Yeah,
something.
the name
I
changed
can't
like a few
remember.
times.
Biochemical war,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, they weren't fun because they always decided to do those damn drills in the middle of the summer in North Carolina, down at Fayetteville. But yeah. Did you deploy at all?
Yeah, I've deployed a few times.
Okay. Where did you serve?
My first one, no one calls it, but it was like Kuwait, and then I did a couple deployments into Africa over the past few years.
Nice. I deployed in Africa too, and it was a pretty damn cool experience. I loved, especially flying down there because it's literally the Wild West of aviation, and it's just you just do what you want to do, and it was a lot of fun. I loved going down to Africa. Plus, we had a thing that when you fly past, not fly past, when you fly through the what the frick is that line called in the middle of the globe? Why can't I think of it? The equator.
Equator.
Thank you. You have to do so as a navigator. You have to do so butt naked in theory, because that would be considered hazing, and we don't actually haze.
Yes,
in the
we
Air
do.
No,
Force.
definitely not.
Morale improvement.
So yeah, Jeremy just shared something with me. Sorry, I wasn't prepared to read that, but
Yeah, me either.
well, it has nothing to do. So
Back to the equator.
so yeah, so how many years you been in?
14. Yeah.
Okay.
Give or take.
Yeah. And so I wish I could remember the name of it. Nuclear, chemical, bio, whatever. You did that.
NBC.
Deployed.
Yeah.
Okay. How many? What has been your favorite assignment thus far?
I'd probably say being at Fort Bragg was probably my most memorable and favorite assignment.
Is it?
Being
Is,
in
yeah. Tell me why. Because Fayetteville, I lived over in Southern Pines just to kind of get away from, because the Army has boots too, and to get away from that whole scene. But it's definitely an interesting place to work. I have to say I loved working in Fort Bragg.
I'm originally from North Carolina, so like I grew up in Raleigh. So just being back in Fayetteville anyway is just closer to home. Like it was
Right.
close enough to home where I could be like, you guys can come see me, but you gotta let me know. And then there was I just like the area and some good people around.
Awesome.
So we have you on tonight, obviously, talk about mil-spouse mental health and issues like that. I don't know where to start to ask you this story, so I'm just going to let you start and kind of get into what happened and where you are right now.
Well, earlier this year, around like Father's Day, my wife committed suicide. And that journey was something I don't think anybody's ever really prepared for, right? So
No,
I've always been a big supporter of the Irreverent Warrior and, you know, the mission for that. And like, I never thought I'd be on the opposite side of it where, you know, it's not a service member that I'm responding to, because I've helped buddies in the past, you know, through that kind of challenge and that time. But like when it's like your actual spouse or your actually family member or whatever, it was a different light on it, right? Because we always talk about like, you know, looking to your left or your right with your battles. And you kind of sometimes we forget like that our spouses are going through some shit too, right? So like a lot of times we're like, they don't understand what we're going through, right? Like they don't understand like how we feel or like the things that we go through or the people we lose or and how that affects us. But like a lot of the times, like they're right there with us. And, you know, she was there through like a rough few years, you know, like lost a couple of people over a period of few years. And, you know, she was there for me like through that.
Sure. Yeah.
But, you know, like that's something I kind of want to reach out. And then, you know, over the time was like, it changed me in a little bit because, you know, just a little backstory. Like I found her, I walked in the house and it was just me and the baby at the time. My daughter was with her grandparents, and I walked in and, you know, I found her in the bed. Right. And like you go through in that period of 5 to 10 seconds of seeing everything, you're doing all the things that you know to do, like checking pulses and like, you know, the way she went out, like I automatically knew, but you're still going through those, you know, steps. And you realize how quick your brain wants to go to like several different answers, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not ashamed to say it, like one of the answers was like, well, I'll just go out with her, you know, because I was just like, this isn't fair, right? Like, but I can honestly say when I wanted to go there, I couldn't go there. I had my kid in the car seat in the living room because I walked in and just had this weird feeling. The dogs were in the crate. She always sleeps with the dogs. And I walked in and I left the baby at the door. And like the first thing I saw was like that. And I was like, well, fuck, right? Like you start doing all those things and your brain starts reacting. And the fact of where I was to where I am now is pretty crazy, right? So like where I was then, like having that split second, like, well, I just want to go out with her, as opposed to now I'm like, my family's good, you know, the kids are kind of stable, right?
Right.
And then here I am wanting to reach out to a lot more people. And that's mainly the reason I wanted to be here.
Sure. Was this, did your wife suffer from mental health issues her entire life, or was this an adjustment issue? Do you know anything about the background? What brought her to that?
There's a couple ways we can look at it. Like there are a lot of things going on that one, like I'm not gonna say like our relationship was like super perfect, right? Because there's no relationship that's super perfect. There are a lot of things going on with work that she wasn't like happy with, and all those things. And like we had issues, and we talked about it because she knows that I was going to school for behavioral health. Like I'm during that time, I was going to school for behavioral health with a focus on trauma. Uh, so we discussed a lot of things, and then she did reach out to the mental health before, like a few days prior, actually. Um, and some things just you can't. I can't fathom how long that emotional like bubble she was in to actually do it, but I can relate to it because for a split second I felt it, when I found her. And like as I'm checking her pulse and trying to do all those things, like I felt it. I felt that real deep, despairing feeling, right?
Sure.
And yeah.
And that's something that not a lot of people find the other side of. I mean, obviously people do, but that's a valuable, I don't want to say lesson, but a valuable experience in what you thought of at that time to share with other people that find themselves in a situation where they think there's no other option, there's no other choice. I mean, every freaking time I pull up Facebook or something, we're always learning about someone that took their life. And I think the biggest thing is, personally, like I've never been suicidal, so I can't fathom that mindset because I do everything I can to stay alive. I don't understand it. But when you put it the way that you put it, I mean, as you're saying, I'm trying to relate it, if something happened to my wife or my kids, I think, yeah, that would be one of the only situations I could find myself there. Do you speak with other people about, mental health?
Oh yeah. So this was like I'm not really a big person to ask for help, right? Like a lot of us aren't. Um, but like this experience required me to like really uh put that kind of pride aside and like ask for help in like every aspect. So I reached out and talked to people that like are willing to listen, and I realized that that was a big thing that kind of kept me going. And even on those moments where I really didn't have much to say and I just felt like I needed to call somebody just to hear another voice, what I mean? That's not a toddler,
Yeah.
or like my teenager or whatever. And, having that ability to just sit there and be like, hey, dude, let's just talk about some bullshit for a little bit. Like, I don't want to talk about anything serious. I don't really care about to talk about anything serious. Let's just talk. I mean? Just let's shoot the shit. And
Right.
a lot of times like that was the saving grace on top of like finding other things because, when like you said, you don't think you could ever go be suicidal, right? Like I never thought I'd be suicidal either. But that split moment where I did think like, well, fuck it, right? Like
Yeah.
this is it. Like, but if it wasn't for my kid, like I always say, like my kid saved my life that day. Because like if it wasn't for the thought of like he'd just be in this apartment by himself, because if I had did it, it'd just be him in a car seat trying to be freaking out, right?
Yeah.
So like I had to learn how to reach out to people and just talk to people about whatever. And if I had a moment where I was like, yo, I'm 2 seconds from breaking down, I just need someone to listen to me for a second. Like I reached out a lot that way. And
Do you,
I think, yeah, go ahead.
well, I was going to say, do you find where is your biggest support system? Is it family, or is it just friends you served with, or even maybe, people you grew up with that didn't serve with you?
All right. So true story, like the first person I called was my buddy Ray. Like that was the first person I thought of, like, and then I called my family second. So but my buddy Ray's in the military as well. He's an Army guy. And, we it's one of those things that we always try and like get civilians to understand is, that military family, that military bond is something that is unfathomable, right?
Mhm.
Like most people are like, I need to call my parents, right? Or I need to call my brother. But I was like, no, I need to call my other brother. You know what I mean? Like, and I called him first and he was instantly on the road and he came down with him and his wife. And I can't, I was actually talking to him about it earlier today. I was like, I don't know where I'd be if it wasn't for like my military family. You know, like a lot of people from the previous unit in the CRD, like their special forces group, like those dudes and those people there were probably like the best. You know, I had buddies drive in from like 2 hours away just to hang out for a weekend. You know, like that military relationship is something that I will preach to the high heavens for an eternity, you know?
Yeah. If you ever watch Vet TV, I mean, that's every single episode ends with text, call, get in touch with someone that you served with. And, you know, it doesn't have to be much. You just, you know, with Facebook, man, you have pretty much every contact you've ever lost. You can go on there and just send out something like, hey, I was just thinking about you. Do you remember when we did this? And you never know.
Oh, yeah.
And it also, it just brings that connection back. Cause one of the biggest things is, you know, people that are out there and they don't feel, or they miss that connection of being in the military, and, you know, they're at the end of a bottle, and you know, they get in these moments of despair. And we're not going to leave our brothers and sisters in the battlefield. Why would we leave them on the home front? And it's
Never.
one of the biggest things with the Irreverent Warriors is that we actually we're putting the boots on the ground and getting people out and getting people involved in things. So any other VSOs or anything like that you worked with that has helped you? Actually, before I get there, I want to know what type of and I don't want, I mean, I know you're active duty, so you don't have to shit on any organizations or anything like that, but how was the availability, or what was the availability of mental health for your wife while you were in active duty? I guess you still are in active duty. So what, for male spouses, basically what I'm asking.
Well, like, we were kind of in a different situation, right? So I was in recruiting at the time, so we weren't like right next to the base. So she had to go through like a private provider or whatever. And like she made phone calls, and obviously it was a different situation because we were still in the middle of COVID, right? So like when she had her one appointment, it was via Zoom or Voom or whatever that, you know,
Yeah.
it was on her phone, right? Like,
Exactly.
so
Yep.
like I've gone to behavioral health and mental health like on numerous occasions, and I don't think I would have got the same comfort feeling, right? If I was like sitting talking to a person via like just staring at my phone, just waiting for this to be over with, because now I'm holding my phone and this is trash. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so it
No,
was
you're
just,
exactly right.
I think I like to say like they did the best they could with what they had, right? I mean, obviously there's a difference of sitting in front of somebody and then sitting on the phone and talking to someone.
Oh,
Luckily,
absolutely.
she did get an appointment fairly fast when she did ask for it. But there's only so much you can do in those things, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I go to therapy, or I should say used to go to therapy through the vet center. Awesome organizations. If anyone is listening, doesn't like going through the VA whole system there, the vet center, there's one here in Raleigh. I think pretty much everywhere has it. They're phenomenal, but same thing. I mean, my therapist, like the week COVID happened, she moved over, I can't remember, Arizona or something like that. But then I got a second therapist, and it was virtual, and it wasn't the same. You know, you're sitting in your room. I hear my kids in the back. You don't get into that separation of, okay, this is my time to deconstruct what the hell's going on in my head. It's hard to get yourself into that. So you're right. It doesn't work, but I mean, we didn't know what was going on when this thing broke out. And, you know, I guess we had to do what we had to do. We had to make way. So tell me about the challenges of, like, honestly, my question is, where do you even begin? Like, how do you pick up the pieces and then be a single dad of a toddler and a teenager? Like, if I watch my kids for a weekend, I'm losing my mind. I don't even know. I just don't know.
Well, like, first of all, like, it sucks, right? Like, it's a rough. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, at first, like, when everything happened, it was just me and the toddler in the hotel, you know, for about a month and a half to 2 months, right? Because
Wow.
we didn't have an apartment. I was in limbo as far as where I was going to be stationed at, and then, you know, like, my apartment complex didn't have an apartment ready for a certain period of time, so it was really just me and the toddler, you know, for like 2 months in a hotel room, which I want to say like that was most definitely like the hardest part.
Sure. Yeah.
I think the thing that really helped me out was trying to maintain a routine, right? As much as it sounds crazy, like I went through this weird phase where I was like, I don't want to be away from the baby, but at the same time, like, yo, you got to go somewhere. You're too much, right? Like, because I'm trying to deal with whatever I'm going on inside my head, on top of like wanting to keep him around because he's my grounding rod. Because during all that, he was the only thing that kept me from probably taking like the opposite route that I could have taken. So I really just got him into daycare, and then I tried to keep a routine as much as possible. I kept him going to daycare, and then like as soon as I dropped him to daycare, I was like in the gym, and like I did that until my daughter came back, and we were in an apartment, and then slowly but surely, like everything started coming together. Like piece by piece. I got an apartment, then the baby had his own room, so I was like, okay, that's like one step down, right? And then my daughter came back, and we had a 2-bedroom apartment at the time. So I gave her the other bedroom, and I slept on the couch. And then we got our pets back. We had 2 dogs and a cat. So it was trying to piece everything back together slowly, right? And then adjust to the mild changes. And then my compassionate reassignment came through to come back to Fort Bragg. So I started buying a house down here, and then going through that phase on top of just making sure like the kids had a routine and trying to understand how that goes now. Like, I not gonna lie, I feel stressed out like more days than not, because like there's times where you just like you want to sit down and you're like, you take over. You know what I mean? Like take over for like 5 minutes. I want to go take a shit. You know what I mean? Like, but like, I never realized like holding the shit until like 7:30 when the baby goes down is like a mission. You know what I mean? Like instead of like handing it over to the wife and like, hey, I'm gonna go take a break real quick. Luckily I got a pretty awesome teenager. She steps in whenever I need her to, but like you're trying to balance like not make her a parent, but keep her a teenager, right? So trying to balance those things out is real interesting, on top of like making sure that they still be kids, and then me going through like whatever little separation anxiety that I might have, because you go through those weird feelings like what if happens to them, right? Like you're hypersensitive to a lot of those things. But the whole single dad part, like I think I'm getting it together. You know what I mean? Like if anybody has a manual out there to like,
I don't see any fires in the background.
Yeah, dude, like I'm doing all right, man. Like, and the standard for like single dads, it's super low. I don't know if you guys know that. You know what I mean? Like, people are like, you fed your kid this morning? They're like, yeah, I did. And they're like,
good,
you're doing
you.
great. You know what I mean? You're a great dad. I'm like, all I gotta do is feed him, and I'm winning. Well, all right, cool.
Nice.
But
what did the Army have? Did the Army have any programs or anything like that to help you out during this?
Yeah, you know what? Like, I knew nothing about it, right? So I had a good friend and a mentor of mine passed from like brain cancer like a year ago, and me and like my wife were a part of that process with the friend and his wife, and like we were a part of that, but we didn't see all the services. So luckily, when everything happened, she like helped in and stepped in and like kind of handled a lot of that stuff for me, because I was lost in the sauce holding the baby, right? So a lot of the services that did come into play like really, really did help. And it was something that I learned so much about it, and I really didn't have to do a lot. But you don't realize what, grief counselors and all those things that are actually available to you, right? But like I definitely would like be an advocate for a lot of those services. And I think that's something that we kind of need to reach into when it's talking to soldiers about things like that. Soldiers, Marines, airmen, all that stuff.
Sure. I think one of the big problems is, and I bring this up all the time, is that, we're warriors. We don't need this help. And then when you have that attitude, you go into, some sort of therapy process, and you keep that attitude, it's not going to work because you're putting up that wall there. But if you trust in it, like I went in and I thought there was no way. I was beating the shit out of myself every day for 10 years. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, I'm going to do this, but it can't work. So I just said, I hit the I believe button and went in, and it works. The shit really, really works if you put the time in, and it sucks. It's not fun at all. And anyone who's been through therapy, it's like, I would rather go, do a CrossFit workout till I puke than sit 10 minutes and talk to a therapist. But it's important to trust it. Do you have any questions? I've been talking a lot.
You're good, man. So I've not dealt with that kind of personal loss, but now that you're at a point to where you've gotten yourself settled and you've gotten to a point to where you're finally starting to get the hang of things, what are the challenges you see now as not only a single dad, but going through that transition? Because that transition never ends for any kind of traumatic event.
I think the hardest thing that I foresee, is explaining to the little one, like diving into that as he gets older. There's most of us dads we like to take charge of all the fun stuff, right? Like the sports, the rough housing and all that stuff, and like realizing that there's only so much nurturing aspects that I actually have, right? Like that maternal instinct I really don't have very well. Like I can get him to calm down, but obviously, there's nothing like mom's love, right? So and then trying to explain to him who his mom was, right? Because I've known his mom since we were freshmen in high school.
Wow.
But I don't think I'll ever be able to convey the kind of person she really was, like how awesome she was, and how fun she was, and the kind of person that everyone that knew her really was, and how caring she was, right? So I feel like that's going to be the hardest thing for me in the future. And then a lot of people, when you talk about it, people that are around, that know her, they're like, yo, I'm mad at her, right? Like I'm mad she did this, and I haven't reached that phase yet, and I don't think I ever want to. The hardest part I have right now is you have all these milestones with the kids, right? Like I have a 15-year-old who's going to turn 16 next year, and I got a toddler that's going to be 2 in February, right? And they're both growing and experiencing major milestones, and you kind of want to look to your left or send that text message or send that photo of yo, look what he did today, or look what she did today, or she says this and she said that. And I think those are always the hardest moments, because whenever I'm gone or I was out of town, I'll get those photos, right? And I still haven't really wrapped my mind around it that she's not here. And there's some times where I just wish I could just send her that photo. So I think that's usually the hardest thing, because once we get into that new phase of normalcy, right? This is my new norm now, but you still kind of want to reach back and be hey, I got this photo. Look how cute this dude is. Or your daughter said something wild and she's talking about boys, and you need to talk me out of wanting to go, buy some land to bury some bodies. You know what I mean? You got, what are you going to do with that? You know what I mean? I don't have that. Right. And, you kind of miss that. And you just wonder, am I ever going to have that again? Or is it going to be okay? So future relationships and future moments with your kids is always something that's drilling in the back of my head. And then, am I going to screw these kids up? How much did this experience, really affect them? Even though he's a baby, as he gets older, he's going to want to know about his mom. And then I have a teenager who lost her mom, you know what I mean? At a fairly important age, and that's teenage years when the mom's supposed to be there, So I always wonder, dude, am I going to screw these kids up even more? That's usually my biggest concern and my biggest fear for the future. But
just curious, was your wife active on social media?
Oh yeah.
And I asked that because we were talking about this just the other day, me and my wife, that we're the first generation of parents where our kids are going to be able to go and see. I mean, shit, there's more than that. It's 500 hours of me just talking, right? There's videos, there's things of just mundane shit that they're going to be able to go on there and be like, oh, that's who dad was. That's who mom was.
Right.
Now, do you have access to her social media? Can you download that stuff to keep for your kids?
I don't have access to her social media, but on one of those real dark moments, when I was in the hotel, I happened to go through a box when I was going to the apartment one day, and I found a hard drive that she had that I never even knew she had, that she had photos and memories and stuff saved. But she tagged me in everything because we were together for 6 years. So she tagged me in all this stuff. I didn't have to post anything about the kids because she handled all that stuff. So I can always just go hop on her Facebook. I don't have the login stuff, but I do get a lot of those memories, and for a while those memories were hard to get on and see, but now they're a lot better to see. And like I share them just so that they stay in my memories for Facebook in case Gabe wants to see them later. But yeah, like we have photos. Like my daughter has like a photo collage on her wall of a whole bunch of photos of the family and everything.
Yeah. Well, Q, I just realized we've been talking for a half hour. Dude, I mean, I really appreciate, I'm sure everyone who's listening and watching this really, really appreciates your candid story there, because it's got to be hard to talk about. I mean, it hasn't even been a year yet. It's sharing these painful things. It's talking about the shit that some people don't want to talk about that actually makes the difference. Because, and again, man, I'm like a broken record, but I always say that, it's important to share our stories, because eventually someone's going to hear that and say, hey, I have that same thing going on, and I thought I was the only one, and I thought I was, doomed for forever and unforgivable, but it's not true. There's been 30 billion people on Earth. Your experiences probably aren't that unique, even though they feel unique to you. And there's someone out there going through the same thing. Do you have any website or social media? Where can folks reach out if they want to say whatever?
So my Instagram is Q_Wilk, WILK. If I post like little blogs and stuff about my journey and some of the trials that I'm having, I try and do one weekly, and it usually has this particular theme. A lot of time it's usually based off of grieving, right, or milestones, or accepting those checkpoints and seeing how accepting how well you're doing during that time, right? Because a lot of times when you're living, you don't think about how far you've came. You always think about how far you have to go.
Right.
But I like posting that stuff just so people can reach out and understand it's okay to talk about it, and continue to talk about it. No problem's too small, and I think that's a big stigma that we have right now, is that my problem is not as big as your problem, or my problem is not worth someone to listen to. And honestly, there's people that tell me all the time, oh, I'm not going through anything that you've gone through. And I always have to remind people yo, dude, if your problem's big for you, then it's big for you. Don't compare it to my shit. Cause to me, my shit's phenomenally large, but your stuff is just as large in your little world. So, share it with somebody and talk to somebody. Please keep reaching out. And that's why I really wanted to get out here and just show people yo, dude, it's okay to talk about it. And, there's always someone that's willing to listen. And if they can't find anyone willing to listen, hit me up. I'm down.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And if you're not that far from here. If you ever want to come out and hang out during a live show, we have the casting couch now.
Oh, nice. Definitely like a casting couch.
There's no stains on it. Yet.
Well, we can change that. No big deal.
Nice. All right, Q. Hey, man, I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on, brother.
All right. Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care.
All right.
That's rough. I mean, God, sometimes your mind goes there. What would I do in this situation? What would I do in that situation? And the fact that he talked about reaching the point where he wanted to take his own life. I mean, so he mentioned something I thought was important. The big one is the blame, right? When someone kills themselves, people often get mad at them. And I understand that makes sense that you would be mad at them. But it would, to me, it's like being mad at someone who had a brain tumor and died.
Right. You
don't understand the state of mind where someone decides that dying is the right, this is where things need to go. I mean, you can't comprehend it, I guess, until you're in that situation.
Right.
And these people are as much victims of mental health issues, which is a health issue. They are victims of a health issue, more than, someone who, I mean, we hear it all the time. Oh, you went to mental health. Oh, you pussy. And then they kill themselves and oh, the person killed themselves, pussy. It's well, you can't have both sides of that coin.
No, you can't.
Yeah. So, Yeah, that's just an important thing to talk about and to and same thing with anyone who's listening. If you were ever in that situation at that point, even if you didn't tell anyone, you were, let's say one day you contemplated, you didn't tell anyone. It's important to talk about that stuff. It's important to let because you never freaking know. I mean, it happens and it sucks. And, we can't end suicide. We can't. It's just going to be one of those things in life. But if we can reach one or two people and maybe get them thinking about his kids and all that. So
one is better than none.
Yeah. Good story. I'm glad you came on to tell us that. It's past 9. Let's go a little bit longer. I had a rough week. Plus, I'm like 3 in. This is like for me 3 cider or no, not ciders. What is it? What are these things called? Seltzers. 3 seltzers. Oh
God, they might as well be White Claws, right?
They might be. These aren't White Claws. These are Omission. They are gluten-free lifestyle. Hashtag. So first thing I want to tell people, I found this video really, really interesting. It's a message to junior enlisted men and women. Yeah, and women. Be careful of cougars. They will eyeball you and they will drain you of life.
All of it.
And I'm obviously talking about, well, let's take a look. Here's a video of some young fella. Do you have it up there?
Yeah, I got it right here.
That didn't heed my, where is it? Where's the, oh, I don't have the thing up. Let me pull it up.
Here, I got it.
Okay, go ahead. This fella didn't heed my advice and he was stalked by a cougar. This is actually a really cool video. I can't imagine. I'd be shitting my pants if I was in this situation.
I've seen this.
You have?
Yes.
Check this out. He walked too close to its babies. Ready?
And
watch
here
this thing.
comes
Look at that.
Oh shit.
You.
He's saying fuck you, right? Is that what he's yelling at him?
Yeah, he's yelling fuck you.
Days.
And it follows him for a while.
Yeah, his video is like 20 minutes long. We're not gonna watch the whole thing, but
because usually most of the time you just make loud noise, they just kind of go away. But
yeah, you make yourself look bigger, I guess.
Protecting its babies, man, that thing is gonna keep coming. Here it comes.
Look at this.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, fuck's right. This is why you carry a pistol.
Even while running. Look at this thing. It's like fuck you, I'm coming.
No!
get the fuck away.
Imagine the claws on that thing.
Is
Get
this
the
up in?
fuck away.
Is this up in like Ontario or something? He sounds like a.
Probably.
Holy
I mean, it's got the article on it once I bring it down.
Go.
This cougar followed me, man. Then I went home and I had a fucking
away.
2-4.
Yeah, right?
Go away. Please go away.
Please,
He's praying now.
Oh,
I mean, even something that size, you don't
Go
think
away.
it'll fuck you up, but man.
go
some
away.
guy, some
Okay,
guy
it's
killed
scary.
one with his bare hands
Holy
out in California. It was a This might even be California. It looks kind of like it, I guess. I don't know.
I can
California.
tell you here in a second.
Go away.
Fast forward. See,
Go away.
I mean, it just follows
And it's
him.
just following him down the trail.
What would you
further.
in this
It's still
situation?
going,
Go
man.
I
Go get your.
Go get your babies.
No,
he
go
said.
away. Go away.
listen to it. You hear it?
Oh,
Oh no, freaking dude! This guy's so lucky he's alive.
No.
These assholes kill
You,
people
dude.
all
How
the
do you-
time.
had he turned around, that thing probably would have pounced.
You think?
Oh yeah, you turn your back to it, and then it thinks you're running as a chase. Now,
All right, you can bring that down. Are you allowed to? I have to look, and I should know this as a
Where's my
concealed
gun?
carry guy. Are you allowed to carry a pistol on? I don't think you're allowed to carry one on federal lands, right?
federal no, but state parks you can. State
Here in
parks
North
allow-
Carolina.
correct. I carry
Yeah.
every time I go for a hike or something like that.
Yeah,
It says Slate Canyon near Provo, wherever this is at.
Provo. That's Utah.
Here's,
What?
Here's
Doesn't look
the
like
news
Utah.
article right here. Video follows man in Utah.
Wow, Provo, Utah. It's beautiful out there. Yeah, I carry. So the most of the time when I'm carrying is because of animals. That's pretty much the only reason why I carry. Pit bulls, really pit bulls.
Yeah.
because there's not many other. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate from that, but I'm sorry if one starts charging my kid, and I suppose
Well,
other
any
dogs
dog
too.
at this point in time, anything comes
Yeah.
around my kid or myself, or even my other dog, if they come around my dog, I'm gonna shoot it. I don't care.
Yeah, I read a thing that's actually not legal.
That's
It's
okay. My dog's
property.
alive.
It's property, and you're not allowed to to
But so
shoot
is
it
my
or something like
service
that.
dog, which is more protected than someone's little property.
That's true. Have you ever heard of George Brett? Baseball
Maybe.
player
Yes.
for who is he playing for? I can't remember now off the top of my head. I want to say like Milwaukee or something like that. Old school guy. One of the greatest stories I have ever heard was, let's see, is that the 3-minute one? Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Pull up that one right there. This is one of the greatest stories I ever heard in my entire life. And he kind of reminds me of like that old crusty NCO because at this point he's ready to retire. Played for the Royals.
No socks.
Oh, you jumped ahead accidentally.
Oh, I clicked it. My bad.
Okay, listen to this.
I did.
You got to back it up a little bit more. Okay, right there. I'll just let it play for a second.
I shit my pants last night. I did. Went out and had a great meal, just a great fucking meal. And I had to go to the bathroom so bad in the car. I'm going, travel, hurry up, man. I got shit. I had fucking shit in my pants. I went in my pants. I'm good.
These guys are rookies. They're like, I don't know what to do. The old guy's talking to me again.
When was the last time you shit
Been
your
a while.
pants? What he asked.
I was in Vegas a couple of years ago. Just an honest to God true story. Staying at the Bellagio. I went over to the Mirage for dinner. Met some friends of mine over there. Went to Kokomo's, a great little steakhouse. The guy brings out some fresh crab legs. These just came in. I got to give them to you guys. I'm eating them. Then we go play gamble a little bit. So I had a tea time early in the morning. So I said, look, I got to get going. I'm walking back to the hotel. I get 3/4 of the way out of the lobby, and all of a sudden I go, oh, fuck.
Oh,
I'm
fuck.
standing here like this. I got my butt pinched so fucking. I'm fucked. I can't move. All of a sudden, felt all right. I went just like this.
Oh, no.
I had some food
This is
poisoning
water.
from the crabs. Take off my leather jacket, tied it around my waist, and I'm just standing there, and it's just running down my leg. I got jeans on, black bucks, no socks.
Oh,
And then
no.
I just start fucking walking. Every time I'm walking, something's coming out. It's water. Straight fucking water. Then, to show you how sick I was, then I'm standing outside my car and get on my cell phone and I call the guy. I said, Larry, you won't believe this. I'm standing outside the fucking Bellagio. I can't move. I got shit everywhere. I shit all over myself. And Larry's about a 48 waist. So he brings me over a pair of pants.
48 ways.
And some towels. And so he comes over and he meets me where I tell him where I'm standing. He finds the closest bathroom. When you go up the escalator, you go into the I can't get in the elevator. It's 12 o'clock at night. So he goes in, he finds the closest bathroom in the lobby of the hotel. And then I get in the escalator and he kind of pretends like he dropped something so no one gets behind me, tells me where it is. I go in there. He goes and gets the towel all wet for me, throws it over the fucking stall. I take off all my fucking clothes, just wipe off, leave my shoes, left my shoes, my
All right,
pants.
you can take it down. That's
right there, the towels.
that
right there
is
in
the
stall,
George Brett
and I'm walking.
shit story. If you guys have never heard the George Brett shit story, now you have. And if you're ever in a bad mood, if things have you down, you can always reach out to one of your Irreverent Warrior friends, or you can throw in the George Brett shit story, and you will find that very funny. What hikes do we have coming up, Jay Diggity?
All right. Being the 5th today, upcoming hikes would be the 7th of November will be Los Angeles, California, and Kansas City, Missouri. I've got a friend who's actually going to that hike, Natasha Valerio. Served in the Marine Corps with her. We were in Fallujah together. If you see her, take care of her. If you don't, I'm going to kick your ass. November 14th is Fort Worth, Texas. November 21st, San Antonio, Texas. December 5th is Las Vegas, Nevada, and Milford, Mass. And the final hike of the year, which I know everybody's looking forward to, is Key West, Florida. That's a hell of a hike. If you can make it down there, never go wrong.
I like how there's back-to-back hikes down in Texas. What?
Right?
Texas. Why does that sound familiar? We'll see. I guess to end it off, I got nothing else. To end it off, we will play the remix. It's only about 30 seconds of George Brett's shit story. And have you ever here, pull up on the notes? It should be the second one under George Brett right there. There's a meme going around where they say war. You know this one?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Let me bring it up. Let me bring up the cam first, and then I'll go right into it.
I shit my pants last night.
There you go.
I did. Felt all right. I went just like this. Water.
Yeah.
Awesome,
That's-
guys. Oh, pull up that last camera. All right, guys, head over to 21gun.net. Spell it out, 21gun.net for everything 21 Gun. Buy a t-shirt. Help us get something that so it doesn't freaking suck and lag and all that. So we need equipment to make this awesome. Buy a t-shirt or join the Patreon. That would be pretty awesome too. Head to Irreverent Warriors Hike. Call, text, reach out to a friend you served with. I think that's all I have. Next week, Marine Corps birthday special on Tuesday. If you're not already shit-faced on the floor, send me a DM. We'll get you on the show. The next episode is on the 12th, whatever. It's going to be a typical episode. And then on the 15th, if you're in Raleigh, head over to Good Times in Garner between 1 and 5. We're going to be there. At least I'm going to be there between 1 and 3 and give a shout out to everyone. That is all we have this week.
I actually got two quick things before we sign off real quick.
Oh.
So since we are partnered with Grunt Style now has a new t-shirt specifically for Irreverent Warriors that are on their site. If you go on there, look up Irreverent Warriors for partnered, and you'll come up with a brand new t-shirt. Look that up, as well as for those who are in the Raleigh, Fayetteville, etc. area, basically those who are around Raleigh, November 14th from 6 to 11, I believe, we will all be at Drive Shack having a good old time. So if you know about that, go onto the website page on the Facebook through the Raleigh or Fayetteville group, and you can find the sign up.
Awesome, guys. We will see you Tuesday night.
Take care.